Obviously, I hope you guys are not washing away. I see there's quite a lot of flooding at the Gauteng ways. I hope you guys are going to have a nice dry game on Saturday.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope so, especially with the amount of rain we've had. Jeez, we really need it, but it's been really it's been excessive for this time of year, you know. So yeah, I know the rain has hampered things a little bit, but we're trying to make it work, and yeah, it's been interesting weather.
Russell, obviously, you've been in both sides of the mountain, if you want to call it that, or both sides of the country. Having this game, given the relative positions of the two teams, second and fourth, and the importance of this game, what is the expectations from the Bulls in terms of what the Stormers are going to bring, given they've got, without a number, their Springboks?
Well, Jan, if you look at their performance, not the weekend past, but the previous weekend against the Sharks, you know, their DNA hasn't changed. They're playing excellent rugby, it must be said, and they are by far the number one South African side at the moment. So you know, they bring a hell of a lot, and I think they're really well balanced. So we're going to have to be at our A game if we want to, if we want to put on a performance that can get us the result.
Russell, these last few weeks now they have some time off finally after all the travels. I mean, I remember Chris also said that you guys haven't even seen your family for a while. What were you able to do in that time off the field, but obviously more important on the field, to sort of look at how things are going, and particularly the Stormers? We know now 4 in a row against them. What needs to change at Loftus on Saturday?
Yeah, so firstly, yeah, the travel was good, you know. Unfortunately, the results didn't go our way, but we enjoyed the travel. And then, yeah, just as far as the Stormers are concerned, you know, if we want the result, there's a lot of things we have to neutralise from our point of view. I mean, they've got an outstanding set piece, a really good maul, so their maul has been really functioning well. And I mean, that's throughout all the teams they're playing against. They got a good maul, and then of course their scrum. You know, they put the Sharks under a hell of a lot of pressure in the scrums last week, and you know what that can result in. You know, you don't want to give away silly penalties, and you want to make sure that you can, you know, try and keep them in the area of the field that you can pressure them the most. So I think that from our point of view, those are the two aspects that we really need to watch out for. And then at the same time, defensively, they've been outstanding. You know, they're coming off the line so hard. They're putting teams under pressure and forcing them into making a lot of mistakes. So we've got to try and make sure we can hold on to the ball in the right areas of the field. And then last but not least, their attack has been outstanding as well. So, you know, it sounds like I'm just, you know, they're the perfect side, but it must be said they're playing really good rugby, and, you know, we appreciate that fact. So we're going to look forward to this challenge. You know, I think if we can string together an 80-minute performance that we know we're capable of doing, it will be a really, really good game.
Because I wanted to say now, there have been patches from the Bulls where it's gone really well. You know, some games the scrum has been really powerful. Other times you concede penalties. Other times the passes stick, and other times it doesn't. So, you know, it tends to go a bit better at Loftus. But now you mentioned the weather earlier. Could that be actually a hindrance to you guys? Because I know you like to get the momentum, and you just want to keep that ball rolling once you're on the front foot at Loftus.
Yes, Ashfaq. You know, particularly on your first point was, that's what's frustrating us the most, is that, you know, it's just the consistency of the way we play. There's been patches where we've been outstanding, and then, you know, for some other reason, there's such soft moments in our game, and we're trying to iron those out and make sure that those don't happen on Saturday. You know, those silly penalties, and we just want to try and play a game where there's none of those silly mistakes. So, yeah, this week has been, I mean, the fields are soaking up here, so it's been nice and wet. But, yeah, we still been going flat out, and, yeah, hopefully, you know, it can be a dry day on the weekend.
Just in terms of player availability, are there any injury issues? Any Springboks not available?
Yeah, after today, you know, we've been fine. You know, we've got everybody available, so that's been good for us. And then obviously, you know, the two Springboks that are away from us, you know, they won't be playing, but yeah, the rest are fine.
Just a small question about logistical issues. Jake is, I suppose, back with the team. And if so, yes, Sean Everett, is he already with the team? And obviously there will be a little bit more of a disclosure of how he will, speaking about Sean's availability for the team later.
Yeah, so Simon, I can just tell you what's been going on with us, and that Jake is back and we're back to normal. So, yeah, obviously with Sean, that's going to have to be Jake. The Curry Cup, we haven't split quite yet, so no, all those things will still come out later on, exactly the logistics and that's involved around the Curry Cup setup. But as far as URC is concerned, we're all back to normal. We're full strength in staff, so that's about it.
Now to the business of the matter. Like earlier said, you were on both sides of these two franchises, and the stats speak for themselves, the URC stats, especially last year's stats, especially concentrating on the play of the DHL Stormers. If I interpret those stats correctly, they are typically a team that wants you to play towards them. They are very solid in their defense, and they will basically force you to make mistakes. So it's carry up towards, and all the opposition teams have a hell of a lot of carry stats, positive carry stats. So less for the DHL Stormers, and from there on they create play. Am I correct with that analysis?
Yes, I think you are, but I think that's like the holy grail of rugby, is if you can pressure the side into making mistakes, and then you can feed off those mistakes. And they're doing it really well at the moment. I mean, they put so much pressure on teams, not only defensively but in set piece as well, that they force you to make mistakes, and then they feed off of that, and that's what's making them really strong at the moment. And then on top of that, they have their basics, and their set piece is really good. So you're right in saying that, but I can quite confidently say I think most sides want to apply pressure and force teams into making mistakes, but that's definitely an area where they're really good.
Last question regarding that. It's obvious then that you have to concentrate more on that nemesis of the Bulls. Sometimes the penalties at certain dire straits moments in the game. You obviously have to focus on that as well. Is there anything different that you do this week, knowing what we've just said? And like you say, it's the holy grail of rugby, and also space. I suppose space is also playing space is also a very important part.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. And as you know, our discipline really needs to improve, because that's cost us in the games that we've lost this year. That's been really our Achilles. So we've got to make sure that this weekend we don't give away those soft moments, those soft penalties where we're just allowing the pressure to be back on us. And it's something we've worked hard on this last week and a half. So we're going to try and make sure that it's always going to be a clean game, but it's going to be one that we don't want to give away stupid penalties.
Russell, just in terms of the lineout and the mauling, obviously that's a strength of theirs, but at times there's been a strength for you as well. But at other times, as we said earlier, just maybe a knock-on in the air or overthrow, or just the lineout delivery sometimes up and down. Is that something you guys are able to fix this week or over the last few weeks?
Yeah, absolutely, Ashfaq. We work on it, and so do they. I think they've got a good set piece, and I know so do we. They've got a really good maul, and at times ours is really fired as well. So it's going to be a really interesting battle over there, So it's really important that we limit the mistakes, not only conceding penalties, but in stupid little knock-ons, handling errors, set piece errors. We don't. This game is going to. The winner of this game will come down to the side that makes the least errors. So whether it be in set piece or whether it be in general play, the side that makes the least errors is going to win the game.
Russell, as I said, that you've coached on both sides of the Vols, of the Orange River and the Vol. So, but what does the North-South derby mean to the Bulls, and especially with the new narrative that's developed in the URC? There was the Super Rugby one, but that was on unequal terms because the Bulls were significantly dominant in that regard from a trophy perspective. But what makes this particular battle so different?
It's a really special game. It always has been throughout the year. So there's nothing that's ever going to change there, whether it be in a Currie Cup game or whether it be in a Super Rugby, URC, the game between the Stormers and obviously the Vodacom Bulls is always going to be a massive game. I think what makes it really special is the final that was played last year. It just shows, how strong these two franchises are. So it always adds a little bit of spice, for the history, throughout the history, it adds the spice. But it's a special game because, these are two really good sides that on any day, whether it's home or away, they can beat one another. So, yeah, we're going to have to be at our best. I keep saying it, to win.
How are the emotions managed for such a fixture? Well, especially with what has happened last year. I mean, the Bulls, especially in the COVID era, were able to turn the tables on the Stormers. But the Stormers seem to be able to find some sort of foothold, especially last year.
Yeah. They've gathered a lot of momentum, winning is a habit, and they've got that at the moment. So the thing with us is we don't really have to motivate the players, and I think neither do they. The occasion and the game itself motivates the players. Sometimes for games where you think you're going to knock over teams, you really have to motivate the team to really get them up. But on games like this, you don't need to motivate them. You don't need to show them, give them any special speeches or any sort of, there's no extra mojo you're going to give them to lift them for this game. It comes by self. So if they understand the occasion, and they'll be ready.
Would you say that there's a friendly rivalry that at times just tends to bubble over? Because there's a difference in the rivalry that you see between the Sharks, Bulls, Sharks, Lions, but there's always that something between these two sides. And the Stormers have been a team that's choked, but they've shown championship qualities now over the past year or so.
Yes, they have. They're in their championship side. I mean, they won the competition, so they're a really good side. I think, I'd never like to think it bubbles over. I think it's always healthy, I think it's good for the game. And there's a lot of pride between the two teams, Neither side really wants to lose the game. So, no, I think that's what's at stake. We just... we'll be ready, and I know they will be.